Hello everyone, this is Mary Ann and I'm back with another video. This is my video update for week 3 of One Book July 2016. I am on version 2.0 and I will link my previous videos for One Book July down below. And on the update for week 2, I mentioned that the goal that I have for myself for week 3 was to journal about 2 major things that have been on my mind for several months now. And one of them has been weighing on my mind for about a year already, or a little less than a year. Um, I don't have to make a decision about it. It's really just a feeling that I have to deal with. And those are the 2 major things that I have been aiming to journal about for week 3. And uh, in order to help me uh, get that task done, I mentioned that I am going to go to a place that I really, really like, that gives me comfort and makes me happy, and I feel safe in that place. And that's what I did. I went to that place. I set aside an entire, or most of Saturday, to go there and really just remember all those times that I have been there before and that I have been happy. And I'm going to show you the place. I have video clips of that. I brought my little GoPro, and I'm really happy that the place that I go to that used to prohibit cameras, they now allow cameras. So I'm able to, take all the pictures and the videos that I wanted. But of course, I took more videos and photos because my goal was to share that all with you for One Book July. So for week 3, I was able to go to the place that I like going to whenever I have to think about something that is really quite heavy or difficult, or when I'm just really just lonely. I go to that place, and well, I'm still lonely when I leave, but not so much anymore, because I can keep the memory of the beauty of that place with me. So that beauty keeps me company for the moments that I take it with me after I leave it. So I was able to do that. So this video is going to be actually where I went because my purpose for going there is for One Book July. So I decided to do that vlog style. So now let me just bring you the videos. So we are now here inside the San Agustin Museum, and this is on the first floor. It's actually a very, very small museum, and it's owned and managed by the Augustinian order, which has been in the Philippines since the 1500s. And actually, I wanted to narrate the whole thing while I was on video, but it's a very, very quiet place, and people were allowed to take videos and photos, but none of us were allowed to speak very loudly. So, and the place is really quiet. And that's the second floor. The flooring is different. Um, uh, I like the second floor because this is where my favorite place is, but unfortunately on that day it was closed, and it will be closed for a few months because they're not giving access for some reason. Over there is an actual liturgical chair from the 1800s, and that is a relief. Those are really just religious artifacts that have been in the Philippines since the 1500s, and that is a garden that is overlooking that is a garden in the center of the cloister, and mostly the hallways are just decorated with very giant paintings. And over there, in that room, that is the botanical room, and that is Father Blanco. Oh no, that's not Father Blanco. The other one. Yeah, I think that's Father Blanco. That is Father Blanco, and he was the Spanish friar who brought to the Philippines certain plants that were not initially found in the Philippines, but he traveled with the galleons. So he brought home some specimens and planted them in the garden in that area. So over there, we have some, those are just reproductions of the flora et fauna Filipinas that he wrote. He collected all of the data from the plants that he brought and then documented them. So there, that's the title of the book, Flora de Filipinas. And those are original lithographs of the color edition of the book. And this reminds me of Tracy Reinhardt because she's also thinking of doing a botanical notebook for One Book July. She can dry flowers and leaves on a device that she can put in the microwave, and she showed samples of it, and it looks so beautiful. And this just reminded me of her. The whole thing. Those are, just lithographs made by someone else, but those are medicinal plants. And I just find them so beautiful. If I had a home, I would dedicate one entire wall of that home for those prints. And over here we have just some wooden sculptures and statues. Those are not life-sized. Over there, that's Augustine of Hippo. We're a very Roman Catholic country. We have no official religion, but most of Filipinos are Roman Catholics. So we have a lot of religious artifacts, and most of the old church traditions are still being followed here. That's a relatively new print, and we have more of those sculptures, reliefs, more like it. And that is a tabernacle. At Mass, that is where the body of Christ is kept. That sits behind the altar. And over there, that is a very dark, very old painting of the crucified Christ. And that for me represents in one image what the Roman Catholic faith feels like for me. It's very old, it's very dark, it's very morbid because at the centerpiece you have Christ who died on the cross just to save us. I'm trying to reduce glare, so I was, trying to twist my camera around, but really that's it. Now, this is amusing. That is a writing chest. Now, for all you planner people out there, including me, that got me wondering, how did they plan their days in the olden days? They didn't have Filofax or the Midori, or they have notebooks and paper or some sort of a notebook, which I'm sure did not look like any of our notebooks now. So that got me to thinking about that. And then you have more religious paintings. And then over there, that is another writing desk that matches the first one that we saw. And, this is a room that I haven't seen before. I've been here hundreds of times, but this is a new room. And that is actually a brass item. It's not made of wood, that is brass. And this room is called the sala, or the communal room. In English, we would call that the living room. If you have a house or a place where people converge, that is the sala or the living room. And over there, that is a writing desk from the 19th century, and I just find it so amusing that I saw this, and the craftsmanship is so wonderful. It's so Chinese, but it was used in a Roman Catholic facility, so that's why it's there. But the motif definitely Chinese. So maybe they would sit on that desk if they wanted to write in their planners, if they did have planners on those times, but I doubt it. I doubt if they had planners. I think they just wrote down their schedules on whatever writing surfaces they had. Those are benches and liturgical chairs that were used in the Mass before. Now, this is my second favorite room because my favorite room is closed for the next few months. This is my second favorite room. This is the crypt that is located right inside the museum, and Filipinos are buried there, but that crypt was made for the monks of the Augustinian order who were living in the Philippines and who died in the Philippines. And over here, look, that is where Juan Luna is buried. He's right there. You can see him. Juan Luna Inovicio. Juan Luna Inovicio is one of our heroes of of the Philippine Revolution of 1898, and he was a very, very good artist. He painted the spoliarium, and he was buried there. He died in 1899, but he wasn't initially buried there. He was just transferred there from somewhere else. And it has a smaller enclave through that very small doorway over there. That is a smaller crypt, and you have there other people and crypts that are owned by families, and whenever the relative dies, that's where they put the bodies. Of course, it's not bodies anymore. Those are very small, so those are for remains, like uh, bones of people who have died and have been buried elsewhere, and their bones that have remained are transferred there. Now, guys, here is a marker bearing the names of all the people that have been found dead inside this very museum. It wasn't a museum then, it was like a rectory for the monks and for the Augustinian priests. Um, After the Second World War, when Manila was liberated by the Americans, people were found dead inside this facility, and those are their names. They were identified. It took a while to identify all of them, but they were eventually all identified, and those are their names. The marker is to commemorate the death that their death in relation to the war, and many of them were patriots. Really, they were murdered by the Japanese because they stood up for the Philippines, and they didn't want to surrender, even though Japan had already occupied the Philippines. And there you have there, in memory of the victims of hate. Um, those were the people who have been found there. That is the monument, and that is the Filipino version of the English one that we saw just before that. So that is my second favorite part of the museum. And over here, this is so wonderful. That is a retablo. That is like a what when you go into a Roman Catholic church, behind the altar there is usually a very massive centerpiece, and that's the retablo right there. In modern churches, you don't see them anymore, but in old churches, that's what they do. And that very, very wide drawer, they used to keep maps on there because when Spain colonized the Philippines, it was the friars, the Spanish friars, that they gave the land to. So they had to draw maps of the land that they owned, and they kept those maps there. And those are just small statues. I think it would be awesome to have such a drawer in your house, don't you think? And that is door of the San Agustin Church. The church was already closing by the time I got there, but just look at that. Look at that sculpture. Isn't that amazing? So I asked if I could take a very short video of the place, and that is the inside of the church. It's so gorgeous, and it still has a pulpit. It's a little kind of bird's nest up towards the side of the church where the friars would stay when they would have their sermon. Modern Roman Catholic churches don't have them anymore. And that is the historical marker of the San Agustin Church. It was chosen as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1993. And I just wanted to show you there the cobblestones. Those are the original cobblestones. It's in Intramuros, and practically all of Intramuros was had cobbled streets in the day, and those are parts of the cobblestones that remained. And that Barbaras that you see there, that is the restaurant that we are going to have lunch in. And there's the entrance to Barbaras. It's so Spanish. I so love it. It's so cozy. I'm sure you will understand why I love that place so much. I hardly have any time to go there anymore, but every time I would go there, I would really be happy. And look at that light fixture. Look at those mirrors. Those are actually antiques. Those are real antiques. And there is me with my little GoPro taking videos of Barbados. And this is the dining area of Barbados. Don't you just love it? This used to be a house, a humongous Spanish house where people actually lived and slept and went to the bathroom. Just look at that, and look at the detail of the glass. That is not anymore the original glass. That is a modern glass. But just look at the design of that. It's very, very nice, and it all fits into this whole thing. I think it matches the lacework there by the ceiling. And there's me showing a footage of me just writing something that I am allowing myself to show you guys. I have already chosen a table in Barbaras, and I have already placed my order with a very kind waiter. There is actually a buffet going on, but I didn't want to keep, standing up and go into the buffet, so I opted for the a la carte lunch. It was already 12:30, 11:30 at that time. So the buffet was already open, but I chose a la carte so that I can stay seated and people would bring me food. That sounds like the height of laziness, but I'm not really lazy, although most of the time I am. But for this particular time, I wanted to be able to just keep sitting so I can concentrate on writing the journal entries that I have. I told myself I will do because those are important. So that entry that you see me writing is really just me, giving myself a short and quick rundown of the day and what my plans would be in putting this video together. Like I said, I wanted to do the voice. I wanted to narrate the whole thing while I was in the museum with you guys, but I didn't want to be so, noisy because there were very few people there because of the time. It was towards lunchtime and people were having lunch. But there were a few tourists there that were very, very quiet, and I didn't want to disturb their peace because they seemed to be really enjoying the museum. So after the museum, I really had, I was in the mood for journaling. And well, that's me. I wanted to show you the little nook that I chose. I'm already using my iPhone at that point. So there's Barbaras. It looks so amazing. If I could buy that, I would buy that and live there. But of course, it's not for sale. And it's also a heritage site, so I don't think anybody can actually buy it and make it, a residence. It's supposed to be open to the public. And there's my little tripod that I use for the iPhone. And there's my planner and my GoPro, and There, that is the corner in which I stayed while I was journaling for week 3 of One Book July. And that is my lunch. That is bistec Tagalog, by the way. And then I had a guyabano slush. Guyabano is Filipino for soursop. That is a fruit that is very popular here. And that's me already having dessert. That's me having dessert. That is tea. That is oolong tea, coffee jelly, and a few mini muffins, mini cupcakes. And I'm still at Barbara's. And that is a choir of 3 men on guitars singing Spanish and Filipino songs. At some point, I went to the bathroom, and this is the way to the bathroom. Oh no, that is the way out of the bathroom. And just look at those stairs. And look at that mirror. I'm like, oh my God, you guys. Isn't that just wonderful? So awesome. I can't talk. I can't. I just can't. And that is the exterior of Barbara's. I was actually taking a walk at this point. I just wanted to show you the feel of the place. And that is the building behind Barbara's. There is just a paper toll shop, which is kind of nice. But that is how Spanish houses actually looked before. And I'm glad that they were able to preserve some of it in Intramuros. And those are bamboo bikes. They are called bambike for bamboo bikes. And they are available for rent, so you can use them around Intramuros. And I didn't rent it because it was like 12:30. What time was it? No, it was like, what time was it? In my Hyperdecks, it was around 2 o'clock. So the sun was so high up, but people were kind of having fun. And there was an actual BAM bike tour that was being held. That's why all the bikes were there. They were having a lecture inside one of the rooms. The tour guide was actually briefing them on something about Intramuros, I think. So that's why the bikes were there, because they're all inside for the mini lecture. And that is the way out. This is, let me see, this is Casa Manila. That is another museum, but it's just a replica of what a Spanish house used to look like. And over here we have more BAM bikes. And I wanted to show this to you guys. This is the Palacio del Gobernador, because when the Spanish were colonizing the Philippines, this was the seat of power for about 300 years. That was the seat of power in Intramuros. And over there, that's the Manila Cathedral that was closed for the day. And so there you have some of the video clips of the things that I saw during that day that I went to San Agustin and Barbara's in Intramuros, so that I can journal I was able to journal about one important thing while I was in Barbara. So that's one down, one to go. But I would also like to show you the Hyperdecks for that day. Now, this is what I'm alpha testing. It's the Hyperdecks Extra, but I will make a video about it in the next couple of weeks after I'm done testing it. But I would like to show you what my day actually looked when taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture via the Hyperdecks. I woke up at 8 o'clock, I got out of bed, and then I was out of the house at 9, and then I dropped by that dorm next to mine, which I wanted to transfer to, and I kind of stayed there for 30 minutes to check out the place, and I really liked it. And then at 10:30, I was already at the San Agustin Museum, and I stayed there for an hour until 11:30. And then at 11:30, I went to Barbara's, and then I had lunch until 12. And then 12 to 12:30, I was journaling. And then 12:30 to 1 o'clock, I was having dessert and enjoying it. And then from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, I was journaling again, still at Barbara's. And then I lingered on at Barbaras until 2:30. And then at 2:30, I walked around, and you saw that in the uh, video clip before this one. And then I left Intramuros at 3 o'clock, and then I arrived at Makati Medical Center at 3:30 because I needed to have a follow-up consultation with my dermatologist because I had a minor rash at my calves, but it turns out it really was just extreme dryness of the skin. And then I was there until 5 because waiting times for doctors in Makati Med is so long. And then at 6 o'clock, I had to drop by the mall that is close to my place because I had to pay for my phone bill. I forgot to do it the previous week. Planner fail, I know, but I got a reminder from the phone company, so I dropped by and paid my bill, and then I was home by 6:30. And then from 6:30 until 9, I was on the phone with loved ones. And then at 10 o'clock to midnight, I was watching. What was I watching? Let me check. Oh, I was watching. Look at this. I was watching Stranger Things Season 1 on Netflix. So there. That is a hyperdex that represented everything that I have did within the 24-hour period of July 16. So I just wanted to share that with you guys just to have a nice finish to me sharing what actually went on the day that I was able to journal about that one thing. And so those are the things that I have done for the third week of One Book July 2016. Like I mentioned in my video update for week 2, I needed to journal about 2 major things, and then to make the process easier for me, I'm going to do the journaling in a place that I really, really like, and I did it. And to date, from June 1 until today, which is, oh, what day is it? It is July 21, exactly the third week of July. I have been able to journal on a total of 110 pages of that paper, the Tomo River paper, personal size, and that's how thick it is. And I have actually archived the pages that I've already done, but I put them back in my planner just to take the video. And of course, I'm still on that pen, which everybody loves and which I am so loving. It can get a little heavy though, so my hand starts to cramp after about an hour, but it's okay. I can deal with it. I can take a break for 15 minutes and then continue writing for another hour maybe. So um, it was a different experience for me to go to a museum and actually take videos. At first, I was apprehensive on how I could carry it out, how I would feel, because I'm not really a selfie person, and I don't really talk so much when I am, you know, in the middle of some people that I don't really know, strangers. But I went there for the purpose of bringing you guys with me so that you can see what process that I have been through in order to get my goals done for week 3 of One Book July. And I wanted to share with you the place because I really love it. I think it's so beautiful, and I know you guys love beautiful things as well. And every time I would see something very beautiful, I would think, oh my planner friends are going to love seeing this. And oh, they would wonder what this is for. I better explain this to them. Things like that. So it was really, really, it's a different experience. And it was fun because I went there just to be able to share this with you guys. And it's a different experience and I like it. And I thank One Book July for giving me that opportunity. And so that is it. That is my update for week 3 of One Book July 2016. I'm on version 2.0. Now I'm not sure if this is quite the kind of video that you expect for One Book July, and I didn't expect to be doing this kind of video for One Book July when I started in July 1, but it's a very nice development and I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoy this video as well because I had a lot of fun getting the footages for you, and I had a lot of fun putting it all together and putting the narration on, even though it's like almost a week after I have went there. My goal for week 4 of One Book July is to um, journal about this one last thing. I haven't been able to do it because I kind of had a lot of things to deal with this week also, but I'm glad that I got that one thing down and I only have this one more thing left. So that will be the goal for week 4, and I'm still thinking about where to go. I might do it at home. I'm not really sure. I'll think about it a little bit more, but I'll be back next week for another video for One Book July. Until next time, bye!